Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight we're going to be talking about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, season 4, episode 13. It looks like we're getting closer to the end. I think this is an 18 episode season, so we're almost there, just 5 more episodes to the reunion. Just hang on and bear with me, guys. But surprisingly, this season has been going really well. Like, I do miss Jen Shaw, obviously, but without her, I don't think it's bad. I think it could be better, but I don't think it's bad. I actually think it's a pretty good season. I think Monica brings, without Monica, it's a dud. And that's just what it is. Without Monica, this season is absolutely positively a dud. So the fact that Heather has been running around acting like I'm not recording with the girl, she thinks she jizzy, and it's like, girl, you are not that girl. Like, I am not the biggest fan of Giselle, but I think she has more star quality. Um, and so when she says or does things, I think she kind of can get away with it. I don't think Heather's there yet. So you don't want to record with her, girl. You can leave, right? Like that that's an easy fix. You don't have to come back to the show. Cause I don't think, and I like Heather, but I don't think she brings enough to it to be making demands the way she make, like, not that she making demands, but the way she's speaking so definitively, I don't think she there yet. No, girl. And I like you, but you're not there yet. Anyways, this episode starts off with Monica calling Heather. She's bleaching her mustache. She's packing. She's getting ready for Bermuda. Um, Meredith is packing with Brooks and he's being absolutely useless. I think he just wants to be on camera. Like, I don't know what he does. I know he's a fashion designer. He's very nice. Met him at BravoCon very, very briefly. He was super sweet, super kind, which was, I mean, not shocking to me because you don't know these people, of course, but he was very kind, but he was very useless to his mother in that scene. Whitney is packing and she's disappointed that she didn't get to go shopping before this trip. And I also sort of wonder, like, I know that they cut and paste things to look a certain way, but I want to know how much time was in between Whitney's friend passing, Meredith's event, and then now this trip to Bermuda, right? Like, I think that kind of provides a little context to some of the arguments that they're having and some of the problems that they're having. Like, I just kind of am curious. Um, because I just feel like Whitney's grief is real and Whitney should feel sad for the loss. And no one could really regulate how someone else is supposed to grieve. I really, really do believe that. However, I do believe that you cannot hold it against people, your friends, or anything, how they react, right? And I don't think Lisa, I mean, yes, we all know Lisa is very self centered, but I don't think that the way Whitney is responding and reacting to Lisa is genuine. I feel like she's trying to have a storyline because she hasn't really had one this season. So I think that she's trying to have a storyline that focuses mainly on her. And I could be wrong, but that's how it feels to me. And so I think that's why she's dragging out this Lisa beef because she wants something for people to be like, oh, Whitney contributed to this season. Because right now, Baby Girl is a dud. And I mean, the reunion seating chart proves it. She was last seat. So obviously, she brought nothing to this season. Um, Angie puts fake jewels on her head to hide her zits. Like, this is when they meet up at the airport. I'm like, I think you should just have the zit. Like, the jewels look stupid. The zit would have been like, oh, okay, she has a zit. And I know people put them little tape sticky things on them and they almost like disappear. I've seen it work really well. Like, I know sometimes I get close to people's faces and I'm like, what the hell? Something's hanging off their face. And that's when I see it. But for the most part, from far away, you can't really tell. And I think she should have probably done that instead of those ugly jewels. Um, the women, like in their confessionals, are talking about all the bad things they know about Bermuda. And it's so crazy because I can't remember. And I like literally was under the belief as a child that nobody lived in Bermuda. I really believed that you went there and disappeared. I feel like that's the story they told, or the Bermuda Triangle. There was an area, you go to it and you disappear. I did not know there was actually island of people. I mean, I knew when I got older, but as a child, like that was what they told us. You go to the Bermuda Triangle and you disappear. Whether you're flying, on boat, however you get there, no one's gonna see you again. Like I had such an irrational fear of the Bermuda Triangle, quicksand, amongst other things. So when the ladies were kind of talking about like their kind of fears of Bermuda, I was like, that tracks because what? Of course you've never been there because it wasn't like a real place. I don't know. It's just crazy. But I'm so glad they went because that kind of dispels a lot of, I guess, previous rumors. And now I kind of want to go. It looks so beautiful. Um, they get on the plane. I just want to point out Whitney is wearing a black outfit that was similar to the green outfit that she wore in her home and called pajamas. I Detective Chi is on it. Okay. You called them pajamas and now you're wearing them on the plane. I mean, I guess maybe you wear your pajamas on the plane. I do not. But I was like, I have seen the girlies wear that outfit. Like, that is a fit. Like, that is a number, man. Like, that is something that the girlies be wearing out. And she was like, oh, I'm still in pajamas. I was offended because I have that fit. So I was offended. I was like, wait a minute, these are pajamas? So seeing her wearing it at the airport, I felt a little vindicated. Meredith supposedly took 2 sleeping pills on accident. So she was like super, super tired, super, super sleepy. I have been reading online. People seem to think that she has a pill problem. I mean, I think Lisa alluded to it 2 seasons ago. So who knows if it's true? Maybe she didn't take it on accident. Maybe she intentionally took it. Who knows? But I have had that happen. So not with Ambien, of course, or Xanax, but I have like been like, oh, let me take a Tylenol. And then like 10 minutes later, forgot I took Tylenol and then took it again and been like, wait, did I take this Tylenol before? So I completely can see how that can happen, especially if you're sleepy, if you're not paying attention. So I'm going to believe that it really was a mistake because I know me and I have done that. Plus, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. But I know a lot of people on Twitter are like, she did that on purpose, but who knows? The house, oh my god, it's beautiful. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. The places that they've stayed in some of these housewife series when they get those little Airbnbs or rent these houses, they're not nice. Or they are nice, but like they're not big enough. Like you have 7 women and people are sharing rooms. Like the fact that they found a space big enough that everybody can get their own room, I'm like, y'all doing it right. And that's what they should be doing. I don't think that adult women in their predicament should have to share. I think that adult women can share. I don't think there's any problem with that. But I think in the predicament that these women are in as housewives, like they're supposed to be rich and fancy and spoiled, like, why are you sharing a room? That's a little like, that's for us who are poor, right? We share rooms because we don't have the money, okay? But y'all aren't supposed to share rooms. Like, y'all are supposed to be solid. So I love that everybody was able to get a room. I love that the house was nice and big. Um, then they're like, okay, the room selection was a free for all that Meredith, due to illness, decided not to participate in. However, when she didn't get the room she liked, baby girl was upset. Now, you can't be upset. I mean, she said like all she needs is a bathtub. But my thing is like, you can't be upset when you really were able to select it on your own. And if you're not choosing what you want, then that's your fault, right? Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I did initially feel bad for her because I was like, oh, she was sick. But I've traveled when I've been a little under the weather. I wasn't dehydrated like she ended up being, but I have been under the weather and been like, you know what? let me go get what I want to make sure, like, let me go stake my claim before people go take what I want. And she didn't do that. She said, oh, I'm not going to go do that. Like, basically, like it's beneath her. Okay, baby, now it's beneath you, but now you didn't get what you want. However, if I was in her predicament, I love a good shower, especially with good water pressure. I am like, whoo, that is my thing. I don't care for baths. I've never used one like ever. Maybe I'm missing something, but I've never used one. So I would have been happy. But Meredith is obsessed with baths, so she couldn't let that ish go. Everyone goes to she's like sick, I guess. So now she's like, oh, I don't feel well. Again, we don't know the editing, but now, like, she has taken a turn for the worse. Like, she was not feeling well, but now she's in bed and she can't get up, and the rest of the girlies are eating, and no one cares to check in on her. The only person that even has a thought to check in on her is Monica. And see, that is the Monica that I feel we could see if the girlies weren't mean to her. Like, she seems like someone that actually is like caring of other people. I mean, it could be just an act, but she seems like someone who actually cares about other people. Like, if she says, "Oh, you're my friend," then she cares and she'll do little gestures that are just kind, which is checking in on somebody that doesn't feel well. Like, "Hey, like, let me get you some food if you can get it down, if you." So, I think that was really nice of her when no one else cared. Whitney and Lisa still aren't talking. In my opinion, Whitney's dragging it. I'm like, girl, I can't. Like, I get your grief, but I don't get your anger at Lisa. Like, you know who your friend is. You shouldn't want anybody to be anything other than who they are. And I think that's what she wants for Lisa. But like, Lisa's not a child that you mold. Lisa is a 40-something-year-old woman who is who she is. So I just don't care for that. Um, I usually love Angie's sunglasses, but these pink ones that she was wearing, a complete miss. A complete miss. I was like, oof, these don't fit your face. They don't look good. It was just, I feel like those glasses probably would have looked better on a rounder face. And she, much like myself, we have like longer faces, and I just don't think it looked good on her face. Yeah, it was a miss. Um, So Heather, while they're eating, starts to tell Lisa about how Whitney has told her about how she's made Lisa a much better person. She's made Lisa really think about things and become more caring and less self absorbed. And Lisa is pissed. And I rightfully so. Like, girl, who do you think you are? Like, you're not a therapist. You're not anybody to be telling people that you've made me a better person. Like, honestly, it was a really raggedy thing for her to say, like, oh, I've made her a better person. Like, ma'am, who are you? Like, and Lisa's like, if you're not my husband, Jesus, or my kid, you didn't make me a better person. But honestly, those three people ain't trying too hard because Lisa is very self absorbed and she's very, just not a nurturing person, it doesn't seem via the show. So I just think it's like, okay, if you say so, right? Um, so Monica goes back to Lisa and Heather, and she's telling them how, Meredith is feeling and that she's not feeling well and that she's upset that she didn't get a tub. And they're all kind of just like, and I already knew there is something going on with Meredith and Lisa. Like, I know that they said they had their pause, but they were working on it and this and that. But I feel like something has completely shifted in that relationship because the way Lisa used to go to bat for Meredith is not how she's going at all anymore. And you could tell she's so much closer to like Angie and to Whitney. And it's like, I really want to know what happened because it doesn't seem like it's something that happened on camera, like Lisa's trying to make it seem, but rather something that happened on camera. And I'm actually really, really curious to know what happened because the fact that her and Heather are kind of like joking about her being sick and they're just not taking it very seriously, I'm like, that's interesting. Then Monica talks about how, like, even though her and her mom aren't in a good space currently, she's still helping her so she can see all of her family in Bermuda because she used to come there as a child. And, she says that's the best memories that she has of her mom and her family is when she's in Bermuda, which I think is pretty cool. I didn't know that Bermuda has such a large Portuguese like community. It's funny because all of those like islands, they all kind of have like huge communities. Like I know like Aruba has like a pretty huge like Dutch community. So it's like interesting to find out the history of some of these places. I don't know if it's, you know, colonizers, right? Like I don't know how it got there, but you know, it's pretty interesting to hear that history or find out that history. Um but yeah, so then the medic comes in to check in on Meredith, and you know, she's okay. She's just dehydrated, which when you are dehydrated, it can feel like the end of the world. Like, but when you're severely dehydrated, it's like drinking water or something like doesn't actually help. Like that IV is really the only thing that's going to help. So the medic gives her an IV, um, and she, you know, hopefully she can rally. That's what the ladies say. Like, oh, we hope that she can rally. And I mean, I guess she kind of does because she's laying in the bed getting glam. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's such a like a rich thing. You're hooked up to an IV, getting glam. Like, I, I can't imagine anything richer than being hooked up to an IV and getting glam. Um, the ladies go rum tasting. Everybody shows up. Whitney is like super late. And when she finally shows up, she's like already tanned, like sunburned, not even tan. I call it tan, but she was pretty much sunburned. And I was like, how long were her and Angie outside talking? Like, what the heck? Um, but yeah, so then they have their dinner plan. So everybody gets up to go, and Meredith shows up last, but she shows up and she gets on the bus and she's like, I have a question for you ladies. I'm like, oh, here we go. Here comes the trouble. Like, anytime any one of these ladies has a question, it's never good. It leads to beef. It's always drama. It's like, don't ask the question. But she's like, you know, how come you guys saw that I was sick and I asked for a tub and no one? Well, actually, she asked, which one of you guys has a tub in your room? And they all have tubs in their room except for her. And so she's like getting upset about it. And it's like, it's just a tub. It's really like that obsession is kind of crazy. You're there for like what, 2 or 3 days and it's just a tub. Like, girl, you'll take a bath when you get home. Like, stop. That's weird. I don't even like taking baths in tubs that I didn't clean myself. But again, I don't take baths at all. But I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a bath in a tub that I didn't like inspect and clean myself. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Um, and then Lisa was like, well, who was going to give up their room? Like, who did you think was supposed to give up their room? And it's funny because they're like going back and forth. And production, they have been doing good because the way they kept on cutting to the driver, like, and he just side eyed, like, I was like, you know, I never realized how uncomfortable those arguments are for those people who are just like random city people. Like, they're just like, what the heck? Like, maybe the people in Bermuda watch Real Housewives, but maybe they don't. And now this is really weird. Like you have me like, wait, what did I sign up for? I mean, I'm getting paid, but dang, right? Um, then Angie decides to go back and get on Meredith again. And honestly, I'm like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, we like Angie as a housewife, but Angie's boring. Like, I'm sorry. Without Meredith and that storyline, Angie has no storyline. None, zero, zip, zilch. Like, there is no story to Angie. I'm sorry. I know people like her now. People are like, oh, well, she's not that bad. I'm like, she's not that bad, but she also doesn't have a storyline and she's not really relevant. Like, I hate to say that, but I'm like, what is she there for? Like, she doesn't add anything. Like, I actually don't hate her, but I just don't think she adds anything. And that is supposed to be in the most unoffensive way possible. I just don't think she adds much. Um, Meredith gives the lawyer's definition of threat because Angie's like, oh, you were threatening my family and da 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 da. And I'm just like, I feel like you and Whitney are both trying really, really hard to have a plot this season, and it's just falling short. Like, we are 13 episodes in, baby. Like, I don't care about Sean, his infidelity, his potential being a homosexual or heterosexual. I don't care. I mean, whatever Sean wants to do in the privacy of his own life is what Sean wants to do in the privacy of his own life at this point. I don't care. Like, stop. I mean, especially since Meredith didn't even say it. Like, Whitney said it. Like, that's the thing that's so upsetting. Like, we're 13 episodes in and Meredith never even said it. Like, girl, get over it. Um, but in her confessional, Meredith does talk about, well, if people are just going to keep accusing me of things, I might as well do it. Hmm. Interesting point to make, right? Interesting point. Um, so then Angie was like, "Oh, well, then is everything good?" And, whatever, whatever. And she was like, "Yeah, I mean, I just wanted everybody to know this." Meredith's like, "I just wanted everybody to know how I felt. And you guys couldn't have known how I felt if I didn't bring it up," which is very true. And I feel like this happens a lot. People don't realize that if you don't tell people how you feel, then they don't know how you feel, right? Like, you have to be, and I thought that was really mature of Meredith, whether it was annoying or not. It actually is true. People don't know how you feel if you don't say it. Like, you could be brooding and sad and giving an attitude all day, but you didn't state your problem, how you feel, how things made you feel. And honestly, I thought it was the right thing to do. I think that was probably the most mature act from a housewife, because she stated it with no fight. She really just was like, I didn't like this. I didn't appreciate this, especially with me being sick, XYZ. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Meredith, you did your thing with that one. um, then everybody kind of like apologized. Not everybody, but they were like, grumblings of apologies of, sorry you felt that way. But I mean, it's fake apologies because none of them is giving up their room and none of them is putting her in the bath. But whatever. Um, they get to dinner, and I don't even remember what they were talking about. But I guess somehow Angie and Meredith were like, okay, we're good. I don't know, something like that, and bringing up stuff. I don't remember, but Whitney, of course, was like, well, in the spirit of bringing stuff up and being honest. I'm like, why do you always do that? It's probably one of Whitney's most annoying characteristics. She always wants to like hop on someone else's point or argument or problem and like relate it back to her issue. Like, she goes to therapy and then she tries to therapize others. Like, I've gone to therapy and I've learned this. So I'm going to come out to the real world with no skill set, background, educational background in this topic, and then do it do it to others and act like I'm so high and mighty. It's a very annoying trait. But anyway, she's like, oh, Lisa, I have a problem with you because of this and that. And Lisa is like not having it. And they immediately obviously start going back and forth. And then Lisa brings up the fact of like her talking about her being self-absorbed and doing better and whatever. So I had brought up the rum tasting before, and the rum tasting wasn't really that relevant or important of a scene. But what was funny is that Lisa tries to make little snide comments about that before she actually brought it up to Whitney. Like, she makes little snide comments about, being self absorbed or people changing her for the better. And I was just like, oh, Lisa, you ain't slick. That's still pissing you off. And it's funny because Lisa does not like anybody making any observations to her character. It like kills her. And I'll be honest, it kills her because she knows that she's not really that good of a person. So when people actually observe that behavior and are able to pinpoint it, I think it really bothers her. I think it really, really bothers her. I don't know why. I mean, hey, you are who you are. You're grown. You have your husband, you have your kids. It really shouldn't matter, but it bothers her because her view of self is so different than the world's view of who she is. Like, as long as she is in her own mind and in her own world and has her view of self, she's okay. But when people threaten that self view that she has, it like sets her off. She cannot stand it. And then like I said, Lisa brings up what Whitney said, and Heather's like, "You're just jealous of mine and Lisa's relationship, and that's why you're meddling to cause problems." So now it's a three-way argument, and I'm just like, obviously Heather is jealous. Like, that's obvious. But Heather is jealous because I don't know. I've said it. I'll say it again. I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. She has an obsession with who she believes are the popular girls, and she wants to be friends with them. And or I don't know if it's friends or be their lackey. I don't know which one it is, but like seeing other people be friends with them so easily or much easier than she had, it wasn't easy for her to be friends with these people. So when she sees other people who she maybe thinks she's better than, or because Heather does think she's better than people, but people that she thinks she's better than or whatever, it bothers her that she can't have that same type of relationship. um but yeah, and it's so funny because she's like, "Oh, mine and Lisa's relationship is different, and it's this and it's that." And Heather is like, "No, their relationship is different because Whitney is delusional. Like, Lisa has a lot of things, but caring, nurturing, and she is not. Like, you're making that up in your head as to who she is, and that's not who she is." But the truth is, people are who they are with certain people. So if she's nice, nurturing, and all those things with Whitney, then maybe the problem is you, Heather, right? Maybe you're the problem. You're not somebody that she feels comfortable being those ways with. Although I don't think so, because I think Lisa is just not really that person, but still. But yeah, so anyways, they're still going back and forth, and she tells Heather to shut the F up, and Heather really loses at this point. She's like, "Oh my God, Whitney, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, honestly, this argument is so pointless because, I, like, the start of the argument was because Lisa and Whitney were having problems with how Lisa handled Whitney's grief. But, like, not how she handled Whitney's grief. Whitney just wants to control how people deal and react. So when Lisa didn't react the way that she believed was the correct way to react to her grief, she didn't like it. And, you know, unfortunately, that's life, baby. Not everything has happened the way you want it to. So I don't think that argument was like, whatever. But what was funny is in the middle of the argument, Meredith looks to Angie and goes, "Well, at least it's not us." And honestly, I'm like, duh, it can't be you because Angie needs to dead that. There's really no reason the two of you should be arguing anymore. But what's funny is because um it starts raining, and Monica was like, "Wow, you guys really brought the bad weather." And I don't know if Monica knows that they call themselves bad weather. She might. She probably does. She probably watched the show before, but it was just funny to me. Then they leave dinner. They get back. Whitney is knocked out on that bus. It's so funny because that's me. I sleep everywhere, like car, plane, train, bus. I'm knocked. I'm gonna be knocked. If the ride is more than 30 minutes, your girl is knocked. I'm not cozy for nothing. Like, I will get in any space and sleep off. That's why I don't like driving. I want to be a passenger princess and I want to sleep. Not even like I want to be a sleeping princess. That's what I want to be. I will sleep. So that was just funny to me because I was like, "Oh no, that's me. Mouth open and everything. Bus, train, van, whatever. I'm not." Then they get back into the house, and I don't even know how it got onto the topic of them fighting. And Angie K was like, "Oh, I got Heather in the fight. Like, she'll beat you up." And Whitney was like, "Nah, I know Krav Maga and Jiu-Jitsu or whatever." I don't know. I don't believe that. I mean, I do believe it, but I also don't believe it. But then Angie's like, "Oh, well, then I put my money on you then." She's like, "I can break her elbow in a second." I don't know. I believe it, but I also don't. Like, I absolutely believe it because that seems like a thing that Whitney would do, but I also like have a hard time believing it. But I actually don't think Heather can fight. I just think Heather's bigger than Whitney, right? Like, not really bigger. Put that in quotes because she's not like bigger than her, but she has more like body than her, I guess is what I would call it. Um, yeah. Then everybody goes to bed. They're all tired, but Monica decides to stay up and eat a little bit more of her dinner. I mean, it seems like they probably spent so much time arguing they didn't actually eat their food. So Monica's like, "Oh, let me eat a little bit." And Meredith's like, "Oh, I'll stay with you," probably as a favor to her for coming by when she was sick, but also probably to to kiki or talk a little bit. And while they're talking, Monica, once again, girl, Monica, I'm gonna say it right now. I hope you watch this video one day. Stop doing your castmates dirty work. Stop it. Stop doing their dirty work because they are dragging you through the mud right now. So basically, they starts talking, and Monica brings up this IG page that DM'd her, that supposedly DM'd Meredith first, and Meredith called her to ask her if she received the same DM. Supposedly, this is I mean, they show the clip from their lunch in which they talk about this, and Monica's like, yeah, the person DM'd me again, and they gave me all of the documents. Like, they sent me all these documents and saying that Angie's part of a Greek mafia. She's broke. She's there. Well, supposedly Meredith alludes to her being part of a Greek mafia, but then that page DMs her about Angie being broke and owing money and all this stuff. And then she's asking Meredith if she received this next message. And Meredith's like, oh, I haven't kept up with my messages. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. And I'm just like, you are really leaving this girl out to dry. Like, y'all are so rude. Like, no, not y'all doing this to her. Like, I feel like it's so shady what they're doing to her. Like, they know she don't have nothing to hide, so she doesn't know the etiquette of the show is that you don't bring up rumors from Instagram or DMs. Like, you don't want to be the person that brings that up because you look foolish. Like, no. Monica, please stop doing that. But anyways, Meredith completely plays like she's never heard any of this, is acting like, well, I don't know, karma comes around and gets people when they're bad. And I'm just like, Meredith, why are you doing this to this girl? Because you really set her up. Like, this would be her second time bringing information to the group on camera or whatever, in which you sent to her or gave to her or pushed her in the right direction. And that, well, I mean, the rumors about Sean cheating, I guess, was out there because even Heather had mentioned it in her confessional. But it's like, no way, Meredith, and no way, Monica, that you're so slow that you didn't realize this is what was happening. Like, what? And honestly, you're a newbie. You should know better. I mean, you're a newbie. I guess you don't know better, but you should know better. This is, you knew Jen Shaw, you know all these people before you actually made it on the show, so you should have been better prepared for these moments. Like, oh god, it's so upsetting. And I mean, this is the only way Angie is staying relevant for this season, because honestly, besides these issues, there's no reason for people to care about Angie K. I'm sorry. um like, is she part of the Greek mafia? I don't know why that would be relevant or important, but I guess some people would care about that. Like, not me, but I'm sure somebody would. Um, I don't know. I don't know, man. This episode it just ended off on such a weird note, and I was just so upset with Monica because I wanted better for her. But y'all, I don't know. Where do you think this is gonna go? What do you think about this? I know people online are saying that Meredith probably made the fake page and sent it to Monica, which I'm kind of like, probably. Like, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and we will be back next week to see what happens. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye.